George Balekji here with Zack inside Gillette Stadium, but just over on the practice field right here in Foxboro, we saw a great sight for Mac Jones and this offense. David Andrews out on the practice field. We'll wait till later in the day to see what his status was, but Zach, that's a huge boost for Mac Jones and this offensive line, especially coming off another game where he's been sacked a minimum of 4 times, hit a minimum of 7.
Yeah, it's a massive boost for the Patriots. David Andrews, I think, is the most important of the Patriots offensive linemen. You just see the difference in that unit when he's out there and active and when he hasn't been, which has been he's missed 2 of the last 3 games, missed most of the third. So they really haven't had him on the field much at all, and I think that's been a big contributing factor into some of the struggles that they've had lately. Now, as you mentioned, we're still not sure whether we're going to see David Andrews back on the field this Thursday in Minnesota. That is a pretty quick turnaround after he suffered what appeared, at least in the moment, to be a pretty significant thigh injury. Really couldn't put any weight on that leg, had to be helped to the locker room, and reports coming initially out of the game suggested that he might miss the entire season. Now that does not appear to be the case, which is certainly fantastic news for the Patriots, but it could be a little bit too much to ask to have him back on the field this Thursday, so we're going to have to wait and see on that.
Yeah, Mac Jones against the Jets sacked a bunch of times, hit a minimum of 7, and especially against his defensive line and just overall the defensive Vikings present. Zadarius Smith, Daniel Hunter, their sack leaders, talented in the backfield. How important is that communication up front to you, especially with a veteran like David Andrews there if he can lead the way?
It's huge, and even if they do have Andrews, that's not going to solve all of the issues that they've had up front. Right tackle has continued to be a problem spot for them all season. Left tackle was also an issue for them last game. There was a pretty surprising opening combination where Isaiah Wynn started at left tackle, Trent Brown started on the bench. Then Isaiah Wynn got hurt, Trent Brown went in. He really struggled. He allowed 2 sacks. Yodny Kajust over on the right side, he allowed 2 sacks. Isaiah Wynn was not out at practice today, notably, so not sure whether we'll see him on the field this week. So this could be a significantly shorthanded Patriots offensive line, and that is really the last thing that they need right now, given all the issues that they've had lately, and given the fact that beyond some of those starters, if Andrews and Wynn cannot play in this game, they don't have a single backup currently on their roster who has ever played a regular season NFL snap. So really perilously thin offensive line right now. And again, last thing they need with how that unit has been struggling lately.
Now, we saw the offense take a huge step forward, especially Mac Jones against the Jets. Still, though, no offensive touchdowns. So getting first downs, not finishing drives. Do you see this test coming up against the Minnesota Vikings defense being more of a reliant game when it comes to Mac, take another step forward, or another one where Damian Harris and Ramondre Stevenson find yards where you can and just muddy it up and play the field position?
Yeah, at this point, I don't think it really matters for the Patriots how they get those points. They just need to start actually finishing these drives, because I agree with you. I viewed this game against the Jets the other day here at Gillette Stadium as a real step forward for this Patriots offense. It looked significantly better than it did in that first Jets matchup and in the game against the Colts right before the bye week, but still 3 points. They've only scored 2 offensive touchdowns over their last 3 games, somehow been able to win all 3 with defense and special teams. But a real problem point for them that Mac Jones has pointed out has been that fringe area, really right on the outskirts of the red zone once the Patriots get into opposition territory and start driving, because they've been able to do that pretty consistently, especially in this last game. But in that area of the field is where you see a lot of those sacks, you see a lot of those offensive penalties, you see some of those negative runs that really just kind of derail otherwise promising drives. So that's really the point of emphasis and the focus for the Patriots offense this week. They've been moving the ball. They just need to start finishing these drives, because their execution, both in that fringe area outside the red zone and the red zone itself, it ranks among the worst in the NFL, and it's going to be hard to win games against this tough late season schedule when you can't put the ball in the end zone.
Ramondre Stevenson over 9 yards a catch against the Jets, under 2 yards a carry. Now, I want to go to a tweet that you pointed out. When we're talking about how dominant this Patriots defense has been, it's been 6 wins against Zach Wilson twice, Sam Ehlinger, Mitchell Trubisky, Jacoby Brissett. Am I missing anyone?
Jared Goff.
And Jared Goff,
yeah.
Thank you very much. Forgettable quarterback play. 3 guys that are benched, or Zach Wilson about to be benched. In this Thursday night game, do you fear more of Kirk Cousins at home, albeit in primetime, or Justin Jefferson, arguably the best wide receiver in the NFL?
I don't really fear Kirk Cousins overall. I don't think the Patriots really fear Kirk Cousins, especially if you go back and look at the last time these teams played here in Foxboro back in, I believe it was 2018. The Patriots really did a lot to getting Kirk Cousins' head in that game. They had a lot of defensive disguise, and I think that they knew that Kirk Cousins wasn't going to be ready for some of the things that they threw at him, and he wasn't, and the Patriots won that game relatively easily. Justin Jefferson, he's a freak. He's a monster. Bill Belichick was talking this morning about how even if you double team him, he's still able to make some of these sensational catches. A lot of the catches that he's made, especially some of those against the Bills last weekend, were with just defenders draped all over him. He's just a rare talent and going to be a real test for this Patriots secondary, which has been pretty phenomenal this season, even after losing J.C. Jackson in the offseason. That unit is really going to be tested this week and moving forward, and just this Patriots defense in general. You look at the numbers. On paper, this is one of the best defenses in the entire NFL, and they have been completely and wholly dominant for these last couple of weeks especially, but the schedule just gets so much more difficult down the stretch here. You look at the games that they play over these final 7 weeks. They play 4 games against teams ranked in the top 4 in expected points added per play, and that doesn't even include the Vikings. That doesn't even include the Raiders, who have a lot of offensive talent. That doesn't include the Cardinals, who have a lot of offensive talent. Really going to be a test for this unit, and this is where they're going to be able to prove whether this actually is one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yeah, after Kirk Cousins, it'll be Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. Tua Tagovailoa is playing at an MVP level, waiting for them beyond that. But key for this Thursday night, the Vikings might be without Christian Darrisaw, arguably the best left tackle in the NFL. All right, Zach, I'll end it with this. Thursday night, you're going to be getting ready to cover the Patriots-Vikings game. But before then, what's your best dish, your favorite dish on Thanksgiving Day?
I've got a perfect combo on Thanksgiving. I keep things pretty simple. I go turkey, mashed potatoes, stuffing, corn, all on the same plate. Maybe mix it in a little bit. I don't get down with the cranberry sauce. I don't get down with some of the green bean casseroles.
Gravy, though?
A little bit of gravy. I don't hate gravy, but I usually go without it. I'm a plain guy. I'm not a big condiment guy, so I keep things simple on Thanksgiving, but I'm very excited. I am extremely happy that we will not be in Minnesota for this game, which is unfortunate, but to be able to have Thanksgiving at home, get some nice Thanksgiving dinner with the family, pretty excited about that.
Great game to end it with. I like your plate. I drown my stuff in gravy, but I like where your head's at. Yeah, great game to end Thanksgiving with. 8:20 the kickoff. Patriots at the Vikings for Thursday Night Football. For George Balekji, Zack Cox. Keep it locked in with Zach and Dakota Randall for all the Patriots coverage you need.